Karen Bonafilio and Greg Thompson here. We left you with a cliffhanger the other day, and we're going to get that taken care of so you know what happened. So he is in the car and heading out to China, and I will let him take it away now.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, the tour started actually from San Francisco. So I had to fly from Seattle down to San Francisco and join another part of the group that was coming from Chicago. It turned out that the travel agent actually had uh, booked they had offices in both locations. And so they had this one trip for everybody in both places. So we met our other half when we got to San Francisco.
Oh.
And that was kind of interesting, just getting to know other people that were there, why they were going, what they expected to see, that sort of thing. So then I started. I did what I usually do when I get on a plane. I do a few make me feel good kind of moments. I looked at. There'll be a long line. I usually prefer to be at the end of the line rather than the front of the line.
Why?
I want to look at their auras. I want to see if everybody is okay. If I see a lot of people that are looking like they're going to die soon, I may want to change planes. I've never had that bad. I've never had it that bad. There was one person on the ahead of us that looked like he was going to get the flu or something, some early stages. But other than that, we're okay. So
good.
After I've done that, I look at the plane, see how the plane's doing. And it's a nonstop flight from San Francisco to Shanghai. And it makes sense it's nonstop because you're going across the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so I'm looking at that and wondering how is it going to do? And I came back. I asked, is it going to make without stopping or something to that effect? And the answer was no. And I'm going, okay. So San Francisco, we're flying across the Pacific Ocean. We're not even close to Hawaii. That's far south. There's really no place to stop.
No.
Unless you want to land in the water. And so I said, well, okay, well, just have to live with that and see what happens. And so then we board the plane and we get off and we're going. And in those days, they didn't have the nice little devices you have in your seats in front of you, showing whatever you want to look at, like what's the plane doing, a wind gust and that sort of thing. They have one big, huge one on the front of the coach. And of course, we were all in coach. And I started watching it, and the speeds were 95 to 100 miles per hour wind gusts coming at us.
Wow.
And I'm going, well, we fly north for a while from San Francisco. And, we're on a circle, so you don't fly straight. You kind of fly.
Loop it.
So I thought, well, okay, we might be just because we're so close to the land and stuff like that. And then we started going across, and it didn't change. It didn't change. It was still doing 95 to 100. I think maybe dropped 5 miles per hour, but
nothing significant.
Nothing significant. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay. We left in the evening, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. So it was basically a night flight that we're having. And after everybody had their meals and such like that, they turned off the lights, but they still had the map showing up there, and it just kept looking the same. Hours went by and it still looked the same. And then suddenly, a long ways in, the lights came on and the pilot came on and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, sorry to disturb you, but I think there's something you need to know."
Oh, no.
You who are watching the plane as it's going across, you may have noticed the wind gusts were rather high. If we continue without getting fuel, we will land in the water about an hour before we're supposed to land.
Oh my gosh.
You don't want to have swimming lessons today. So
I don't think you can swim that long.
Tried to keep it, happy. And he said, we have contacted Japan, and they're going to let us land at their military base, Okinawa. And said, there's some things you need to know. So we're not scheduled to be there, of course. So they're going to put us at the end of a runway. They're going to give us just enough fuel that we need to go the rest of the way, and they'll figure all that out later. But what you need to know is that there's going to be soldiers coming out in jeeps and trucks and completely around us, and they're going to have machine guns aimed at us.
Oh my God.
So
Japan?
in Japan, yeah.
But
Well,
we're friendly.
it's a military base. Okay.
Okay.
So don't even think about opening a door or a hatch to try to get out or anything. They're watching everything you said. And so we'd rather have you all with us alive.
I'm sorry. That pilot.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, it turned out to be okay. We got in the plane, we kept on going. But that's like,
Oh
okay,
gosh.
I was told that we would not make it all the way on a nonstop flight. We had to stop somewhere. That's true.
Yes.
Okay. So everything so far had been true. And I'm going, okay, so everything, does that mean everything I know that's supposed to be happening while I'm in China going to happen? And there's no response to that. And I go, okay, fine. So anyway, I thought, well, we'll just have to live with it, and enjoy it. I mean, after all, this is a once in a lifetime trip going to China.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not planning to go back.
You're gonna die trying.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Sorry.
So for the next we landed there at a decent hour in the evening. We spent a couple of days in Shanghai, going around seeing what's around there. It's a very, very high energy location,
Oh.
unlike Beijing, which is very government oriented and downward pushy.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like anything's possible kind of a feel to it. And so we really enjoyed that. After the couple of days, we then got on the ship that we were going to have going up the Yangtze River.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 7 or 8 day trip, I think, on the river.
Wow.
And so we got on the ship, and they said, "Oh, by the way, we want you all to get together in the meeting room." There was a meeting room right in the middle of the ship, and we want to show you what we're going to stop at, where we're going.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, fine." So I
Mm-hmm.
thought in the back of my mind, yeah, there's this thing about I'm supposed to be climbing a temple, and somebody will talk to me, or I will talk to somebody when I get to the top. This is something I had in the years leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of go, okay, so I still don't know how you climb a temple. I'm thinking pyramids or something, but it didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, we're going to stop. They're going to show us where we're going. So one of these spots must have something to do with a temple that you can climb.
Steps or something.
Something. So
Hmm.
we kept. They got out and started talking about where we're going and stuff like that. And a lot of it was very interesting in the sense that some of it was museums, and some of it was just meeting some of the people, and some of them had a little act or something they want to do for the Americans that are coming through, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, this would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And life went on. They started showing, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever. They had 10 different spots they were going to stop on the way. We made it through the first 9, and no temple, no nothing. So I thought, okay, well, this is the last
Must
one.
be a temple. Mm-hmm.
It must be a temple. And they showed the Precious Stone Fortress. Precious Stone Fortress is hard to miss. It's huge, a large rock, if you will. I mean, about the size of a large office building, 20, 30 stories tall.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and what it's used, and it has vines growing down the side of it. And it has a structure on the top. You can just make out some walls up above on the top of it. And kind of going, okay.
I know what that is.
Right, I'm not planning to climb vines to get to the top. Turned out that the Chinese government had come to the rescue of it. They were doing a lot of that at that point in time, trying to preserve the past in China. And so they had built the stairwell that you can walk up along the side of it, and you can walk up the side. So you're climbing the stairs to get to the top. And I thought, okay. And it turns out that this place was, it used to be robber barons that owned it, and back in 100 years, 200 years before.
Mm-hmm.
And they had cannons on that, and it was a fort.
Oh, wow.
So it makes sense. And they would require any ship coming through to pay a fee. And if they didn't pay the fee, they would shoot and kill them. Yeah. So we went up to the top, and as it was going up to the top, it turned out that this was actually a place where, in the past history, that the people would come there to get good luck.
Oh.
Good luck is actually a form of religion to them. Their ideas of religion are a little bit more different than ours.
Hmm.
And so people would come if they were having bad crops or whatever. They would take the time to leave wherever they were in China, and make it over to the fort.
Wow.
And there's sayings and stuff on the side of the rock as you're going up it. So the Chinese had built this stairwell to have it right next to it, so you could see them, not have to go like that. And you would touch the side of it to get luck in whatever it was, luck in a marriage, luck in a crop, whatever it was.
Oh, very cool.
And it turned out that that's actually the number one religion in China, at least at that time.
Hmm.
And number two was Catholic. Number three was Muslim. And I can't recall what the others were down the line. But it was rather interesting. So we get off and we take this little trip up the side, and I'm taking pictures of it and all stuff, and trying to forget the fact that it could be climbing the temple, and somebody's going to talk to me, or I'm going to talk to somebody there, and it's important to pay attention to what's going on at that time. I thought, okay, fine. So we get to the top, and we walk into this courtyard, and so now you can see everything down below. And you can say, well, they did have a good vantage point for what they wanted to do. The cannons were still aimed in the right directions. And so when we walked in, and there was kind of like a little courtyard before going into the temple itself, and it had Buddha statues, like 9 of them. And each one was Buddha in a different form. It's like a farmer or a teacher or whatever. Buddha played all these different parts. So basically saying that, Buddha is something of everybody.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's kind
Very
of a
nice.
combination thing. So I was taking pictures of those because I didn't want to walk into the temple yet. I wasn't sure what this thing was going to be when I walked in. So eventually I was the only one standing outside. So I had to walk through the door, and I walked in, and I walked into a courtyard. A beautiful courtyard. In fact, it was absolutely gorgeous. They were restoring it, and the painters were in there right then, painting over the walls and everything with the designs and stuff that they had on it originally. And there was a creek going through the middle of it, with a fountain that had, I don't know where the water was coming from, but they
Beautiful.
had and plants around it. It was just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And it's just, and my garden just went, and it was the first time I'd heard birds chirping. And the Cultural Revolution that they had, what was it, 100 years before that, at least, there was not a lot of food available. And so one of the things peasants could do was kill the bird and eat the bird. So birds learned not to come there anymore.
Yeah, good idea. Oh, gosh.
Basically, up to that point in time, I hadn't even thought about it. Of course, part of it was inside the city, Shanghai, things like that. So, but I never thought about the fact that I never heard a bird in China until then.
You heard it.
I heard birds chirping. And then all of a sudden, I became aware that something was talking somewhere nearby. And I could feel it. There was something on my right shoulder, and something was talking in my ear. Everything will be okay. Long life, good health. Everything will be okay. Long life, good health. Everything. And I'm going, and I recognize the voice. It's my guardian angel. I hadn't talked or listened to my guardian angel since I was 4 years old. And so here, and it said at the time, he said that he would show up occasionally through my life to see how I'm doing. And so here it was, everything will be okay, long life, good health. And I'm going, there's a pause. Everything will be okay, long life, good health. Everything will be okay, long life, good health. And every time he said it, it was a little bit louder than the time before. So when it started as a whisper, became
Stronger and
like
stronger.
the level we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I became aware I'm supposed to fill in the space.
Oh.
So I filled in the space with the word prosperity, not necessarily meaning money, prosperity with friends, family, that sort of thing. So everything will be okay. Long life, good health, prosperity.
All
Everything
right.
will be okay.
Nice.
So it was really a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm. And you're doing it with your guardian angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we got through that and got back down and got on the ship and kept on going. And like it was the last stop we had before the end of the trip, really. And the next stop was Chongqing, which was a village now. It used to be the capital of Beijing, capital of China. China's had 4 different locations over history of where the capital existed. And of course, it usually had to do with politics, where it's going to be. Chongqing, at this point in time, was just another town, and we were going to stop at because you have to stop, to go buy things.
Of course. You're a tourist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, tourists. So they took us to a jade factory.
Oh.
And I'm going to jade factory. I mean, you don't make jade, so what's this factory doing? Well, it turns out they were carving jade and such. They made statuary, they made rings, necklaces, that sort of thing. And it's this big, huge shop, and state of the art looking everything about it. Like, something you find in New York City or San Francisco or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just beautiful, beautiful. And I walking around and I found a statue I liked. And it was only a few $1,000s.
Back then.
Back then,
Back
yeah.
then.
And in those days, I had a really high income. So I thought, okay, fine. I want to buy this one. So I got the sales lady and gave her a card, and I'm sitting around for her. And finally, she comes back and she says, "I'm sorry, but the bank wants to talk to you." I'm going, okay. Will you come with me? And I said, fine. So we went down one flight of stairs into the basement of this building.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got down there, and I'm looking around, where do we go next? And she said, we have to go down one more flight. I said, isn't this the basement? She said, yes. I said, but we got one more flight to go. She said, yes. I said, okay. So we're going down the next one, and the stairs were made out of wood now. And I'm walking through a dirt tunnel, going down, and about every 6 feet, maybe a little bit more longer, there was another light bulb in the ceiling.
And so, you're by yourself with this lady?
Yeah, that's it. And
okay.
She's in front of me. I'm following along. And I said, this seems a little strange. Where are we going? She said, we're almost there. Okay, fine. We got to this very large room, all dirt walls, wood structure holding it up. And I'm thinking, there's this 10-story building sitting on top of this. And I thought, oh no, don't go there. It's not in Shanghai. So anyway, we get into this room, and there's 3 women on the opposite end of the room, and they are working with some wiring. And so the sales lady said, we need to wait here. I said, okay. So I'm watching, and these 3 women are doing their thing. And I said, okay, I can't stand it. I need to know, what are they doing? She said, oh, yeah, that's no problem. She said, the one on the far left is hooking the wiring together so that we can call it the United States.
Okay.
And so, the one in the middle, the second one, is teaching the first one how to do the job.
Oh.
Okay. I said, well, what's the third person for? She said, oh, that person's from the state. I'm going, state. Oh, of course. Yeah, we're in China, and you're calling the United States, and you're calling a bank in the United States.
Oh.
I said, okay, fine. And they got done and gave me back my card because used it to make the phone call. I mean, I'm not allowed to do anything. They called the phone call, and then they said, your bank will probably will contact you now. So I waited, and sure enough, a lady came on the phone, and she was from the same bank, and she wanted to verify who I am with some security questions. I said, okay, fine. So we went through the security questions, and there was about 4 or 5. And she said, okay, fine. She said, it'll take me a few minutes to put it together, but after that, your card will be allowed to be used in China. I said, okay, fine.
Okay.
So I hear this tap, 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 tap going on. And I'm going, where is she coming from? And why? And at that moment, it hit me that there's a reason why this has happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but there's something more to it. And then I suddenly was able to do remote viewing. I saw her sitting in a chair in a cubicle, a very, very large room of many, 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 many cubicles, and all the lights were on in that room, and she was the only person there. And I thought, well, first of all, that's sure a waste of electricity.
You go to the rational mind.
I'm trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, I could see her. She was a brunette, and she was busy typing away. And I said, out of curiosity, no, not yet. We started to ask her a question. She said, please wait. I said, okay, after you're done, I want to talk to you. She said, okay, fine. So I'm watching her type, and then suddenly I see the wall behind her at the end of the room disappear. I'm going, okay. I can see the building on the other side of the street.
I have chills.
And then the wall, both the left side and right side disappeared. And then the floor disappeared.
Are you kidding?
She is sitting in a cubicle in midair with nothing else around her.
And you're standing next to her or something? Or
I'm still standing at the entrance into this room.
Wow, Greg, this sounds like a movie. It does.
It was just so weird. So I'm going, okay, I'm being led somewhere here. And all the stuff I had about climbing the temple, and all the stuff I had earlier about a plane coming to crash into a building, and having spent time at the World Trade Center and being told that it was going to come down in 10 years, which was now the time 10 years later.
Oh, it was.
I'm going, okay, so was she in the World Trade Center? So I finally said, she got done. She said, okay, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, I'm kind of curious about where you are. I said, she said, well, I'm at my office, at my desk. I said, well, yes, I know, I can see you. She said, sure. And I said, no, I mean, I can see you. You're a brunette, right? She goes, yeah, of course,
You're
in, so that's not going to tell you much. And
you're in China.
The top that she was wearing, something like that. And she started taking me a little more seriously. I said, are you in the World Trade Center? She said,
no.
She said, why, yes, I am. I said, are you in the South Tower? She said, yes. I said, are you on the 85th floor? She said, yes.
Great.
And I said, okay. I don't know how to tell you this. And for some reason, I didn't want to mention the plane. I don't know why. But I said, something's going to happen here in the next few days. These towers are coming down. And she said, what do you mean coming down? And I said, they're going to fall down, straight down. And she goes, well, they're not that old. And I'm going, I know. It was like, this is 2001. I think they were 10, 15 years old. And well, more 15 or 20 maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I said, yeah, it's going to come down. It's going to happen. And by that point in time, I made a mention that it's going to happen between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, but I wasn't sure which day it was yet. And she said, "Oh, that's no problem. I'm not here." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I go home at 7. I work third shift." I said, "So you won't even be here?" "Well, not at 8 o'clock," she says, laugh. She says, "I have to go home. I take the elevator down to the basement. I get on the train, go out to New Jersey home, and I go in and relieve my husband, who's gotten the kids up to go to school, and I take over and he goes off to work." I said, "Okay, so you won't be there." This was happening on September 8th.
Oh, next day.
We're nearly. And I'm kind of going, okay, so I can't recall why I didn't include the 9th, but I said it's going to happen either on September 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning. Both towers will come down.
Does she think you're crazy?
No, she was taking me seriously.
Not a crazy American. Okay.
American, no. Partly because I was able to see what was going on in the room. I described the room in some detail before the walls disappeared.
Gosh.
And she said, "Okay, fine." I said, "Look, if you do me a favor," I said, "since you leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, I assume you meet your 8 o'clock. The people that come in at 7." She said, "Yes, they do." I said, "Okay, fine." I said, "Will you please let them know that what I just told you, that both buildings are coming down sometime between 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th, between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning?"
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Well, I don't know. They won't believe me." I said,
Right.
I'm sure they won't. I'm sure you won't. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can, at least let them know that. And basically, if something strange happens, completely out of the ordinary, something that you just you don't know how to fathom what happened, get out of the building then, now.
85 floors.
Yeah. Well, they have speed elevators. They go. I can't recall what there's a cross. Uh, uh,
Yeah, but if a plane hits them, okay.
yeah, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
But I thought they'd have enough time. As it turns out, well, we'll go on, keep on the story. Um, she said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, I guess I could tell him." I said, "Well, just tell me, the strange person called and told you this kind of stuff." If Friday comes, the 14th comes, have a cup of coffee on me.
Yeah.
And she laughed. She said, "Okay, fine."
Mhm.
And I didn't get her name, so I don't know what happened. So anyway, that was that was what happened in China. I now knew.
You're in China telling someone in America
Mhm,
that you didn't mention plane, but the buildings are going to come down.
that's correct.
Okay. And she believed you.
She actually sounded like she did. Like
Okay.
it was possible. She was open to it. Let's put it that way. She wasn't saying no to it.
So let me ask you this. All these other premonitions that led up to, is that why you had them to lead up to this moment when you're talking to her?
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right.
Um,
I want to know if she lives or not. That's like, this is a story. I got to know if this lady lives. I don't know if you're going to be able to answer that. We'll find out.
never got a chance to find out.
Oh, darn.
I mean, who do you call when you don't have you don't, I don't even know her name. I just know
Right.
I knew the bank she was working for, you know, and
Yeah.
well, obviously it didn't survive, so there was nothing to look at after that.
Wow.
So anyway, the next thing happens, actually on September 11th. There's a 12-hour difference of time between New York City and Beijing.
Yeah.
So if it's 9 o'clock in the morning in New York City, it's 9 p.m. the same day in Beijing.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Okay. On the night of September 11th, the tour group was going to see a Chinese opera, and Chinese opera is not quite like we see in the United States or for Europe, not a European style thing. It's based on folklore, which of course a lot of American or or Western culture can be also be. But the interesting part is the hero is usually a man or male, but it's portrayed by a female,
Oh,
and that's traditional. So
okay.
so we're in this large uh, auditorium watching this play, and they have music and they have dance and all that and the whole thing. It's very, very, how would I say it? I would call it spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
the delicacy of the whole thing and everything was just beautiful. And it got to a point where at some point there was toward the end of it there was the hero and the hero's companion were the
Okay.
only ones on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and the hero the companion threw a sword up in the air and it came down handle first,
Oh,
and the and
good.
the and the hero hits it with an elbow and knocks it back up in the air, and it comes back down. And when it comes down the second one, uh, coming down the second time, the companion throws out another sword. So now you have two swords going.
Oh my goodness.
You have four swords, then you have five swords, and
Wow.
the hero hitting with a shoulder, hitting with a knee, hitting with any part of the body that would cause it to go back
Stop
up.
it.
And it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then all of a sudden, there was also a clock in the room. I thought, a large clock on the wall in an auditorium that's used for cultural displays. And I thought, this is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there watching this thing, and I'm finding myself looking further, back further and further
Oh,
from
really?
seeing happening here. And I'm going, oh, what's going on now?
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt it. And I knew the North Tower had been hit.
Oh my gosh.
And I knew it was a plane.
Was it a full body feel for you when
Yeah,
you felt it?
yeah. And it
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
trying to. I have had in the past an ability to be anywhere in the world I need to be uh, with remote
You're
with,
just
with,
fascinating.
with remote viewing,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was trying to connect up to the people in that building, and I wasn't
Oh,
able to do it. There was too much going on. I wasn't able to get to it. People did not understand what had just happened. And the initial thought, people, and this makes sense, thought it
mm-hmm.
was a plane that was in trouble and got off course and hit the building. Some time went by, well, I guess a half hour, almost a half hour or so like that, and I felt the South Tower hit.
Oh, jeez.
And that's when
Oh my gosh.
that moment in time when that happened, there was a ripple effect that came through
Oh.
moments later, just going through like this.
Mm-hmm.
And when it went past through me, it said, "Chaos is here."
Oh my gosh.
And
And you're watching an opera.
I'm watching the opera. It got past, and within 5 minutes, lights came on because that was the end of the what they were going to show.
Yeah.
And there it was when I first came in, I sat in the middle of a row, and a lady came and her companion came and sat next to me,
Yeah.
and they were talking a little bit about going home, and they really enjoyed being in China and that sort of thing, typical kind of tourist kind of a thing. Uh, and
Oh man.
when we got done with it, I turned and looked at her, and she was bent over like this with her hands over her
Oh.
face, and her friend was going, "Wait, you okay? You okay? Are you okay?" And trying to get her attention. She wasn't getting her attention, and I could hear a slight crying kind of a thing. And I leaned over to her. I said, "Did you feel that?" And she responded, "Yes."
Oh.
And I didn't know what I said. I felt it too. And she stopped crying, but she didn't change her position. And her companion finally was able to get her up a little bit, and I realized she wasn't going to be able to get up on her own. She was just wasted away. And so I
So,
helped.
Greg, she felt it, but she didn't know what had happened.
I did. I think I got as much conversation as I was going to get out of her.
Okay.
She. I mean, her friend, who sounded like a very good friend, wasn't getting any response from her. So why would a stranger
Wow.
get anything from her?
Mm-hmm.
But I helped lift her up a little bit, and they left, and uh, that was actually intermission time. So the lights had come on, and we were coming back. And I had a couple of friends, new friends, uh, that I picked up on the tour, and a husband and wife. And I had told them about that something bad was going to happen while we were in China. And so we'd had several conversations about it. And so he saw me coming off the row, and he said, "It happened, didn't it?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, where did it happen? What's wrong? What's happened?" I said, I don't feel I can tell you. Uh, I said, if I tell you, you're just going to go crazy wanting to know more. And I said, there's only so much I can tell you because I don't know that much either. And he said, was it in the United States? And I said, yes. And that's when he wanted to know where. And I said, no. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy the evening. He said, well, I can't really enjoy the evening. I said, I know, but try to. If I tell you more, then you really won't be able to enjoy it. I said, when you get back to your room tonight, don't turn on the TV. The in the rooms that we were staying in all throughout China, if you when you come in, you turn on the TV set, it comes on with no sound. The volume's completely turned down, and it always comes on to CNN International. So it's all aimed for Americans. And I like the idea of, coming into a hotel room, turning on the TV, and it comes on with no sound. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been in rooms where you come in and it sounds so full blast that you where the hell's the volume control?
Yeah.
But the next morning, I woke up, and I actually slept well that night. I don't know how that happened. Maybe I was just exhausted.
Yeah, and something came to fruition that you had harbored for
Yeah.
so long.
Oh, well, it even gets more interesting. Um,
Oh, wow.
I got dressed and came back out, sat on the side of the bed, and putting on my shoes and socks. And I thought, gee, I should turn on the TV set to see what it says, because still doubting everything that happened was so real to me, but did it really happen?
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know how to explain that. Anyway, I turned it on and I saw a plane crashing into a high-rise apartment, or what, a building, high-rise building.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a ripoff. That was my first thoughts went through it. There was an advertisement, had been one advertisement for Arnold Schwarzenegger doing a new movie that sounded like Die Hard, basically.
Oh.
Kind
Mm-hmm.
of. And I thought that's just that's bad taste based on what just happened. And I look away and I put on another shoe, and I look back again and it showed from a different angle. And I'm going, God, that's really bad. That's really bad. And I turn away and I finish getting dressed and I go, wait a minute. And I turned and looked again, and across the bottom of the screen was America Under Attack.
Yeah.
They're re-showing what had happened and when it happened, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
My instant reaction to that was unexpected to me. I started laughing. I was laughing hysterically. It's over. Everybody in the world now knows what I've gone through for 30 years. Now it's happened. And I'm giggling and laughing and going, thinking, and my body was doing one thing, my mind was doing something else. My body was laughing, and my mind's going, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. That's a very unusual reaction.
Yeah. And I turned and looked back again, and then they started showing the bodies jumping.
Gosh.
And they had the sound effects turned on where they heard it hit the top of a car or whatever. And then it dawned on me I wasn't able to stop it. So then I started crying,
Yeah.
and I was crying, and then I was laughing, and I was crying, and I was laughing, and I couldn't control myself. I
Mm-hmm.
had no control over the body at all. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is happening, and I'm kind of not with it. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I'm observing this person having a breakdown, and it's not me. It said, well, how many of the are there? There's one laughing, there's one crying, and there's one observing. I mean, it's like, okay, I think we run out of possibilities here. I,
Yeah.
the body fell off the bed onto the floor on all four, and I could still see the TV set, and I started laughing and crying back and forth, laughing and crying, and I then fell into a fetal position, and I started yelling as loud as I could because I wanted somebody to help stop me from doing this. Nobody came.
Nobody came.
Nobody came. We're in a large hotel. And I was yelling so loud, I'm sure somebody in the hallway would have heard me. Not, you know, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And finally, I divorced myself completely from the body and just watched it for a while. And then I came right back down and said, stop.
Back in.
And yeah, and it stopped, and I was okay again.
Wow.
Um,
That must have been horrendous.
it was, and I still have a hard time with it. Um, we stayed in China for another 5 days. We were supposed to fly out on the 13th, which is why I said 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. 13th it would be
Yeah.
the end of the time because I'd be gone after that date. And the 10th has something to do with the lady. I can't recall what it was. I think she said she would not be in town. She would not be there on the 9th. She would not be there on the 10th, I think. So I knew that it would start with the 10th, over the 13th. Um, but anyway, needless to say, we didn't leave on the 13th of September.
Planes were grounded.
Yeah, all the planes are grounded for the United
Yeah.
States. And
Oh,
so
geez.
our flight was sitting there, and we went out to Beijing. We stayed in a hotel.
God, Greg.
They put us up in another hotel. There was another group coming in to stay in the hotel we were in, you know,
Uh-oh.
and you can't have two sets of it at the same time. So they found a place for us, and we ended up in a little village outside, near the airport, and outside of the whole. I say actually, it was a Swiss embassy at one time, and had been used for other occasions for dignitaries to stay in when needed. So we had a lot of good Swiss food for a few days,
Gosh,
but it was pretty rough. Uh,
I can't imagine this. I really can't. And if that lady lived, what's her story? She's telling people, "Hey, I heard about this. It was going to happen."
well, the interesting thing about it was the 85th
Yeah.
floor South Tower
Happened.
that was destroyed by the plane that came in. So
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
so based on what I told them, if something bad's happened to the towers,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense to you. Get out as fast as you can. Well, it hit the North Tower first. Okay. Then it hit the South Tower, and the South Tower 85th floor was destroyed. So
But she wasn't there, right? She
she
wasn't.
wasn't there. No, she wasn't.
Okay. Good.
Well, yeah, pretty sure she didn't show up.
Jeez.
So anyway,
Greg, you have to live with that. My gosh.
yeah, it's still kind of rough. Actually, I'm doing better than I normally do when I go through it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of you.
Yeah, you make my body do all these reactions when I talk to you. I'm not kidding.
Well,
God.
we stayed there for another 5 days, I think, kind of in exile, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing about it was United paid for the all the bills for the extended stay.
Yes.
It was the only airline in the world or in the United States that actually did that. Everybody else had to pay for their staying longer.
Wow, that was very considerate of them.
Yeah. So I mean, I look going, okay. In 2001, United was a fantastic airline.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they aren't anymore? I thought they were
I
good.
don't know. I haven't flown for a
Oh,
while, so I can't I don't
That
want.
was always my favorite airline.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it may still be a good one. I don't know. Um, so anyway, we got on a plane and we flew back, and we flew to Chicago. Chicago
Oh.
O'Hare was the only airport in the United States open for commercial airlines.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, even the ones who were getting ill, they took the plane we normally had, and people who had gotten sick or whatever
Oh.
uh, uh, couldn't stay in China any longer.
Jeez.
They flew them to Vancouver, BC, and then brought them across the border into the state of Washington to
Wow.
there. So we get back and it's really weird. We the airline stewardess. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they did it. They were very kind, quiet, concerned, want to help you. And I'm going, this is only a few days after. Now, maybe they were able to do that because they're still on the job, as it were. But the fact that the energy and level of kindness was extremely high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I commend them very highly. We got back and I got went through security, which was almost a joke. They basically said, "You have anything to declare? No, go." You have anything to declare? Yeah. What? Okay,
Oh.
go.
Oh, really?
And the sleeping dogs and stuff are not there. I mean, it's just like it's like they're just letting us through. They weren't really doing a security check. I mean, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Got a ride back to where I live, and like I said, those days it was in Seattle. And we got on the road, and I saw a car go by with a American flag on it. I thought, well, that's a little different. Don't see that very often. And then the next one by, and the next one by, and cars, trucks, motorcycles, all having the American flag on it. And I'm going, did I miss something? And
Well, you knew it happened.
well, yeah, but I didn't understand it. And I asked the driver, I said, what's with the flags? And he said, where are you from? I said, I just got back from China. He says, oh, okay, fine.
So
And
he,
he basically, yeah, people wanted to feel good about themselves and
America.
the country
Yeah.
as a whole. And I never thought about the fact of being in the country when that happened.
Yeah.
I was outside.
Yeah.
I was outside the country serving.
I think everybody who lived through that remembers all of that.
I didn't say where they were. Yeah.
Yeah, where they were. I remember. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Oh,
I got back home, and
oh,
I
great.
I was pretty much a basket case.
Yeah. Mhm.
I could,
Mhm.
I'm home, I can relax. Well, that was the worst thing for me to do, or it was best thing. I don't know.
Did
It,
you keep watching it on loop? Because that would be really bad for you too.
yeah. Well, I could just I can remember it, and then yeah, I won't go there.
Please
So
don't.
it, I was pretty much a mess. So I want to put a positive on the end of this.
Yeah, we're going to have to end pretty soon too.
Okay. Basically, I was told by a friend to go see some other people he knew in St. Helens, suburb here of Portland.
Oh yeah.
And he had a bunch of people there that would be able to understand what I'm going through and help me.
Oh,
And
good.
so
Good.
I did. I went there and talked to him. I talked for 2.5 hours about my life.
Mm-hmm.
And their answer at the end of it was, write a book.
And do we have that book there to share?
Yeah, we do.
Oh my gosh, Greg.
Well,
Okay, move it over a little bit. No, there you go. That way. Living with my spirit guides. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have that in my shopping cart.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
I yours.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God.
when you
Greg, I think there's more for you to say. Now you're talking about remote viewing. My God. Would you
Yeah. Yeah.
And you put me through so much when we do these things. Ah, oh, okay, Greg, is there anything else before we wrap it up? Because my brain's poof.
No, I think I'm pretty much done.
Well, hey, audience, how you doing? um, I don't know. We might be seeing more of Greg. I'm going to chat with him when we get off. Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh boy.